standing against the 1% of this country that has 60% of the wealth. We're tired of working our asses off for scraps. We're tired of fighting over crumbs because you have too much of the pie. We're going to take it back peacefully if necessary, by force if necessary.
Awesome.
That's it. Join us.
The revolution will have a Tumblr page. Hey, we were just talking about who built City Hall. Was it the people in the top of the big banks right down the way? Was it them or was it us? So how can we possibly get arrested for occupying the places that we built?
Or even then, the fact that didn't tax dollars pay for it, and if you pay for something with tax dollars, it's technically public property. So technically, we should be able to actually lay down in the halls and seek shelter in City Hall. That's something I want to see at the end of all this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, above City Hall is the inscription that reads, "He who violates his oath profanes the divinity of faith itself." So take that.
Huzzah!
Serve and protect. Who are you serving and protecting?
And might I add now that it's 60 hours?
Up the punks.
This is cool. Hopefully we can put that interview that they do solving the problem.
Huh?
What was that?
We're just running in circles. Hey, don't hit me!
Hey, excuse me. It's their turn. It's their turn.
Let's just continue this revolution even tomorrow and the day after. Let's wake everybody we know up to the crimes of government, the legion crimes of our mass murderous satanic mafia death cult CIA, assassinating citizens at will, stifling free speech, spying on all human activity via DARPA, the internet, tracking you via your smartphone, not only just radiating your brain through the carcinogens that they knew about in its inception, but yeah, they got us hooked on this form of technology, this form of transfer of information. But now we're getting tumors. Now we're getting cancer through the roof, off the chart. mortality rate is retarded. They're soft killing us. We're marching straight to Big Pharma. The GMO foods are attacking the thyroid. They're attacking the hypothalamus, not to mention the pituitary gland, and my favorite, the pineal gland. You know, that third eye that allows you access to higher dimensions of consciousness. You know how we're all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, merely just in experiencing a human being state for the time being, when time is an illusion and is not linear, like we were lied and brainwashed into believing by the dumbing down of America through social engineering. The propaganda forced onto us from generations past, dumbing our grandmothers down. So our own grandmoms' stories were adulterated, fictitious renditions of the truth. But we know the truth that resonates within us all. The secrets of the universe dwell inside our hearts, and that's why it resonates within. We are going to win this battle. We've already won. Remember, time is non-linear. So if we could fast forward the DVD, if there was a DVD of time in existence, if we could fast forward it, we'd see we've already won. It just seems a little dark and bleak now. But if we could fast forward time, we'd see we've already conquered the corrupt. We've already brought justice to the tyrants. Just look ahead into the time warp. Come on, we're all multidimensional infinite consciousness on a quantum level, experiencing itself subjectively, and Bill Hicks would say. I love you all. This is the greatest time to be alive. Let's continue to wake everybody we know up to the soft kill food weapons and the food product weapons that are in our society to soft kill us. Not to kill us completely, but to keep us running right back to Big Pharma. Right back to the over-the-counter and prescription meds.
Codex
Alimentarius.
Agenda 21.
Agenda 21, dude. Oh, man. Their crimes are legion, but so are we. And they can expect us worldwide, rising up, taking our power back from the corrupt. We told them they would fear us.
That was the last message.
Or whatever. But originally, I wanted to do it with my megaphone, the tent, and the chair, and all this other things. And I was out there telling people that they're unique, they're beautiful, they're one of one. It's time to become more aware of this inner beauty and this inner knowledge. God is within ourselves, you know. And once we realize the God that we have within ourselves, we're able to go ahead and plant and harvest those seeds within others. You know, we're able to produce happiness with others. So I went out there Monday, security guard came, gave me the whole, I'm going to lose my job, please get down, it's dangerous, da, da, da. And I'm a pretty easy guy to talk to. Yeah, I'm a pretty cool guy. Even in my head, I said, even in my head the night before, I was like, if anyone comes, just go up, because I know they're not going to understand what I'm doing at this very moment.
Right, yeah.
And I knew that. But you know, when I interact with people, I kind of see them as myself, and I kind of give them the benefit. What would I do? You know, how would I treat me if I was in their situation?
Some people can't do that.
That could be a pro. That could be a con. Who knows? But I ended up getting arrested. I was so mad because they did like a fist bump explosion, like him and his manager that ended up getting me arrested. Because the police didn't even care. They were like, oh, that's cool. You're out here delivering a message. Let's go see what they want to do with you, yada, yada, yada.
Oh.
So anyway, they arrested me. I was so aggravated and upset that I ended up going back the next day without my megaphone, without my tent, without anything that I initially hadn't planned to do it with. And I just started climbing the tower.
That's fucking cool.
And I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get my message out the way that I wanted to, but on the benefit of it, on the flip side of things, I knew that it was going to be a platform to move from. You know, it's like a funny story, it's a joke, and, you know, my friends are making a cool documentary about it.
What is your message?
My message is that we need to become aware, ultimately aware of our surroundings. That's our sixth sense and awareness. And if we don't have that sixth sense in line, we cannot guide our other five. And I feel like a lack of just awareness, we're heavily distracted with things that are really frivolous and that are not important. You know, we're more just focused on entertainment.
I was going to ask, what do you think is the cause of the distractions?
We're desensitized to violence, so we're okay with, you know, police or anyone in the neighborhood going around shooting people or doing heinous crimes. Because, I mean, it shows in our entertainment. So we can't, we're at fault for that. But ultimately, the only thing that I feel like is going to fix it, the problems, we can go on all day about these problems. There's so many scars on the Lady of Liberty. It's ridiculous, you know, but ultimately the solution is just waking up. I think detaching ourselves from this matrix for at least a good week or two and just, you know, be in that cocoon state. Every life form on this planet has a state of dormancy. I think we need that. I think people need to completely be dormant and learn how to be on their own and embrace in the adversity, and you actually see the beauty of life, the beauty of just being able to see right now.
Just being a human being is completely insane.
Awesome.
It doesn't make any sense, but we're here.
Cool this is to be a fucking human. Right.
I feel the same way. I think that every day.
Right, and I mean, unfortunately, in today's period, dogs are treated better than humans.
Gets there.
You know?
Yeah, Bond's got a nice dog.
Yeah. So, you get carried around. I might want to come back as a terrier.
Yeah.
If I had the choice, you know.
Purebred dog. Yeah, somebody will take care of
Carried
it.
around, get a jacket, fucking food, get groomed all the time. Like they're living their life here. Their quality of life here in America is better than the humans' quality of life. And that's a shame. And it's better. I mean, the quality of life just on this planet has dwindled to a point where it's time for all of us to do something.
What are some of the things you'd like to see change?
I'm just gonna say it again, communication. I feel like that's the ultimate thing. The fact that you can walk in the streets, you know, and just make it to your next shopping destination during the sun, it's crazy to me. I look at the sun as the light bulb to the earth, you know? And what we do with that time, it says a lot about the society. And I'm not saying that shopping is bad, but I'm saying when you walk in the street and people kind of walk by you only long enough to kind of pick you up out of a lineup. You know, they glance at you and they don't really they're being really avoidant. And I feel like even that little action is what's killing us.
I feel it too. I feel like we've all been conditioned to be afraid of each other.
We have, because there's a heavy sense of condition of competition.
Yeah.
You know, as we grow up in elementary and through school in general, we're always being told to be quiet. We're always being told that, you know, raise your hand. We're conditioned and domesticated to act in this fearful state. You know, and then on top of that, we're also in competition with our next man. So I think that what needs to change. Schooling and everything in general.
Yeah, I just went through the school system myself. You know,
Right.
It was awful. It came out just knowing enough about I don't know, Columbus and George Washington to not have a good grasp on reality. Period.
I can honestly say that I was never really paying attention hard enough.
Oh, I tried, but you know, you're a kid.
You know, because it's so irrelevant too.
It is, but and that's the thing.
And as a kid, and even especially now, what's worse with the kids now and between when we were growing up is that we still went outside.
Yeah.
You know, we still went outside and explored. Playing is when you learn the most.
Yep.
But now, what's made school even worse, vice versa to childhood, is that kids, they control their world so much at their fingertips around them now. When you go into a classroom, it's so analog and archaic where you're not really involved.
They
It's
can't,
irrelevant.
they can't
to-
concentrate.
you can't relate.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. The 80s was a generation of
example I have
ADHD.
of that.
I know these kids now are really on it.
It was like I went to a junior high that was like a magnet school, like a college prep. I learned Spanish for 2 years. I was having dreams in Spanish. I went to a public high school. Within 1 year of public Spanish, I forgot everything I had ever learned. In like within 1 year, I just in the Spanish class I was doing nothing. It was just pure waste of my money as a taxpayer. Like, I started working when I was 17, and I'm like, just looking back, I'm like, that's what I was doing in high school.
You weren't prepared for anything.
Like, I wasn't ready for college.
It doesn't make you
like
prepared
my junior high was harder than almost Long Beach State was. Like,
Yeah.
those 2 years of that college prep school were harder than almost anything I've ever done. And it was 2 years of my life, and it was only such a small percentage of our country gets to see what that's like to have one teacher for 15 students, and it's like,
It makes a world of difference. Like all the money we're spending on wars, if we were paying teachers to just hang out with
And
kids
you
all
would
day,
think
I'd be a teacher.
Teachers should be like one of the most high positions in human quality of just life in general, whether it's corporate,
know,
teaching,
right?
or education in itself. Because ultimately, we're all just seeking knowledge. Day by day, we learn something new every day. So why are these people treated like shit who are supposed to teach?
you think of the most memorable people in your life, who do you think of? You think of your teachers, you think of Martin Luther King, you think of like,
Right. You think of people who you actually got to relate and taught you something and you had some type of common ground with. What do you think? Let me turn the camera back on you.
Oh God, I think everything's fucked up right now. I think everything's.
Right.
Yeah,
did too.
I couldn't even put my finger on
the.
the.
Like what I was trying to explain, as vice versa to like other revolutions or other time periods where people got together and had a concern about something. You know, we went through the time period of what is the world? Is it flat? Is it round? And then we went through, we're destroying the world. We need to save the planet. And now we're on this. The humors are completely fucked because now everything is fucked up.
Yeah, we've polluted this place
we've
beyond
destroyed
repair.
Everything, and the only thing else to fight for is us.
Yeah, maybe we turn it around a little bit. Yeah, I think everything's fucked up.
that seems just sad though. That's like, if we're already at that point to where we're just like, yeah, the world's trash. We're just like scrambling for like not to just be enslaved masses. That's just like. So,
That's what things really change.
No, but it's nothing.
It's like
Because there's a
once
virtue
it's
to that,
everything.
though. There's a virtue to seeing
what
that
I mean-
everything is fucked up. It's because
if the Earth's already fucked and we're going through the largest mass extinction since
We
the
could be.
dinosaurs.
We really
I
could
think
be.
We are.
Yeah.
I read articles saying we're going through one of the largest, or the sixth mass extinction of the planet's history now, and it's just like, but what do you see on TV and what do you hear on the radio? You hear just go out and have a good time, party. You have TV shows about going back in time like 30 million years because the Earth's so fucked. You don't ever hear TV shows about people, making solutions about shit.
No, I think that's a problem too. Is like there's too much focus. So we've got the mass media on one hand, just like creating this delusional false reality for us to all kind of fall into, and people buy it. And then we've got the news. It's giving us not news, but people think it's the news because it's the news. Yeah.
It's like as you slip further, people's minds just stay in the same state, and it's like, and those of us that have like realized where we're at are shitting our pants like it's over, we're fucked. How can we even get this moving forward? And it's like,
I don't think we should be in a state of like, it's over and it's fucked and like a depression. I think we should look at it like, it's over, it's fucked. Now we can get on to the real. Because ultimately, what is going on?
You gotta acknowledge it first.
Right, we're acknowledging because what's going on. When people, like I was saying, when you interact with people in the street, they're not ultimately being themselves. They're hiding their thoughts and all that, their inner them, is being trapped, and they're going around in this like just drone state.
We self-censor.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So once we kind of like lose those fear of embarrassment, and fear of public speaking, and fear of just any type of fear, once we relinquish just all that garbage, I know we will be able to live and be flourish and be happy, and things will be fine. Things will be great. Because that's ultimately what it is. We're just expressing ourselves. We're not expressing ourselves. People are frustrated. People commit suicide. People commit crimes. People do all these things because a wrong way of expressing themselves.
How do you feel about the wars?
It's garbage, crazy, drama, BS. I mean, you send the poor to go fight the poor.
Yeah.
People only usually join the military to make money.
Yeah, I joined it because I need health care for my daughter, you know?
Exactly. So the concept is just, it's buffoonery to me. I feel like it's archaic. I feel like nothing has changed since Babylonian times.
Yeah.
Only the things around us have changed. Only the fact that our buildings look a little different. You know, some of the trees are maybe a little slightly
But
different.
even then, though, like literally, like we've ruined the planet. We're going to the ocean is turning to like an acidic thing of filled with plastic. Like even 500 years ago, they didn't like 350.org. You know that
Yeah.
is? Yeah, like simple things like people today, like we have these 99% badges. 99% don't think climate change is like. They don't think cars and the way we, 99%
Because the debate's been framed really, really badly.
We were saying about the media and the news.
And they go, well, cars make CO2 and that's what trees eat. Well, if you're cutting down all the rainforest as fast as you possibly can and the cars are still making CO2, and at the same time we're dumping cyanide in the water and fracking fluid in the aquifers and plastic in the ocean, the things full bird species are just being wiped out because they can't feed their kids.
Yeah.
It's all plastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So literally animals are eating plastic, and the plastics, I read an article saying that there's more plastic in our bloodstream now than like the scientists would ever care to admit, because we literally everything we touch is plastic now, like everything we consume, there's so much plastic in the ocean, it's like the size of plankton and fish are eating it, and it's like...
It's already deforming kids.
Yeah.
It's already deforming our kids.
So I'm like, okay, we can't be like, we're at the same place we were 100 years ago, because 100 years ago we were still figuring out how to burn oil, coal. Now, it's like, now we're literally fucked, and we're trying to pull ourselves back from the brink, and it's like, you have these people doing it. Out of all of LA, out of all of California, these are the people trying to keep us from the brink.
My battery's about to die.
Yeah, on the brink. We're trying to keep us from falling.
What do you guys think about the fluoride in the water?
Oh, that's crazy. It's true, but it's crazy. I mean, it's amazing how, what was that, the Soviet Union did the same thing. That was going on with the Jews. They put fluoride out in their water too, as well. And the fact that we have it, in our water and our toothpaste, we make it as entertainment. We make it like we glorify it as in a way where it's beneficial. And we need to realize that this stuff is really harmful. This stuff is not, in our benefit at all.
No.
But it's there. There's all types of... I wouldn't even... It's funny that they go to the extent of poisoning the water. But the fact we can just go back to the way that we've grown up. Our schooling system is...
I gotta get that protest. Walk for some of this shit. People are like,
I like that.
Yeah, it's hilarious, man.
What percent? Why you not sure?
That's funny.
Hey, why you not sure? That's so cute.
home circles. I do home circles. Yeah, I go to Roma guys. I'm a Roma fan. So we're like very good. This is
Oh, I don't either. Hold on, I'll be there in a minute and I'll figure it out.
lot of beautiful people helping.
Are those medicated fish? You want some? No, I'm good.
It's not a party unless there's cannabis.
Right. I totally lost a J too. You lost a J? Yeah. He always loses J's. That's okay. Oh no, I got it. You got it? Yeah. Oh, good.
We're live and direct. Honored to be here.
Yeah.
GHC TV.
So why are you guys out here?
Right here for justice.
Justice?
Justice on behalf of the American people. Right?
What do you want to see done?
I want to see criminal prosecutions of probably 100, 150 of the major bankers in the country today. For starters.
Right.
Yeah. Simple as that.
How do you feel about
we're
our...
radicals. This isn't radical. We're demanding just basic American justice.
How do you feel about the political side of the whole debate?
Huh? It's 2012. We're going to see a whole new culture blossom. Oh, man. New politics.
It doesn't exist unless we make it. So we are the ones that have to
change things. Yeah.
It's not going to happen unless people stop and actually think about what am I doing today, getting up and going to this job? What am I really supporting in the bigger picture of things? So I like that one idea. Everyone that works for any government office needs to quit their job. Maybe the rest of us will support them. I don't know.
Yeah. And here to interconnect. And here to find all the other people who care. So our coalition begin. Yeah, that's as much part of it as educating the masses and all the teachers finding each other. Time.
When you give a message to all the rich people out there, what do you tell them?
It's time to start thinking differently. You can't take it with you. A lot of the big industrialists, a lot of the billionaires are coming out very forthwith and saying, too much is too much. And there's got to be a share, there's got to be balancing out. In the 1950s, the average millionaire had $18 million. He's taxed 50%.
Yeah.
So you got $9 million to go home, and that'll get you a big house, nice big cars, but you're going to buy a group of senators. You're going to start a revolution in the middle country to come over to your business practices. Today, the average millionaire makes $270 million, but he's taxed 15% instead of 50. Now, he takes home over $200 million, and he can overthrow countries. He can buy senators. He can come up with crazy ideas to take over the world.
Yeah.
But right now, we go back to the 1950s level of taxing, 50%, you have no deficit. It's simple as that. That's math, balance. So, who's responsible for this? It's not the poor. They're trying to put it on our shoulders for what? Trying to buy a house? They overvalued the houses, not us. We just bought houses. So, and unfortunately, trusted our bankers. The biggest mistake the average American has just made is trusting a class of professionals called bankers. To the point that the Glass-Steagall Act dropped, the bankers were allowed to do anything they wanted with anybody's money. Americans were naive enough to think they wouldn't just give it all away. And when they did, they don't even apologize. They don't, no shame at all. So I think until there are criminal prosecutions, we're not going to see them apologizing and coming out and doing right by their own will.
Do you think they care about us at all?
I think deep in their hearts, they're humans. They have compassion for other beings. I think they're just mostly isolated. They live in isolated communities. They drive with tinted windows. They have drivers. They isolate themselves from the public.
There's a lot of us against them too.
Right,
They
feel
are
the pressure.
isolated.
Right.
They probably live in a good amount of fear.
They've made mistakes. They have guilty consciences. They know they've made compromises along the way. I'd be scared if I were one of them as well. I think, those that are in those positions that are willing to confess their mistakes, confess their crimes, try to retribute, like any criminal. You get leniency if you admit what you did was wrong. You show some payback to the community. You know, instead of doing 10 years, you do 5 years, you do 2 years, you do community service. So this is a moment, right? This is a moment where you're allowed to come out, admit what you've done, give back the money. And, you know, you probably won't hang from a tree. You might, you know, get a little counseling, though. Think about it.
Thank you. The battery's about to die. That was the perfect way to finish.
Fantastic.
Can I get your email